What's up, 90s Con? Well, Sunday, Monday. We have so many witches at 90s Con this year. We got like Hocus Pocus, Sabrina. I mean, there's just so many magical people here. So I kind of want to start with that. Like, Sabrina was just so magical, and there were so many fun like special effects. So I want to know how the magic happened, but also more importantly, were there any special effect snafus that happened on set?
Oh, there were a lot of those. Caroline had the flash pot. The flash pot would go like this, and it kept going into Caroline's eye to the point that she would point at it like this. Because it kept like blinding
We had
us.
a lunatic guy who did the special effects. The first season. He
tried to kill me.
He melted Jen's pants. And I developed a tic, because I knew that every time that the what's it called? Flash pot would go off, it would explode in my face. So I was very hesitant the first year. I was like, okay, I'll do this about.
We also
we're a convention, because we're covens. A convention.
It was the episode where I was turned into a puzzle. So the effect only worked if I jumped out of the screen off camera, but I had to jump over the flash pot, and nobody had any inkling that my gym pants were flammable.
That's right. And Diane, the costumer, was slowly trying to kill all of us anyway.
We also we stuck one of our guest stars in a case. Yeah, a case with dry ice, and kept it closed so long he couldn't get out, and we didn't roll in time. It was supposed to be like, rolling action, and he comes out, and we were like, there was a problem, and we stopped or whatever, and by the time we actually opened the trunk, he's like, I couldn't breathe. It was
Henry Gibson from Laughing.
Yeah, and we almost killed him, and then a chair lit on fire in the dining room in some scene, with like something happened behind someone, like the chair lit up. I don't know. It was
We got injured so often. I would go to my doctor and he would be like, well, there's blood in my urine. And he'd go, well, what's happening? I was like, well, we were fine in these rigs. And he'd be like, what? And I'm like, they dumped lima beans on our head. And he's like, what?
we had a panther get loose on the set, and
That was a lion.
It was a lion.
Because they thought the lion, the lion was trained by one of those, they don't work, by the way. Don't worry, the lion won't go past the imaginary electronic pad, and the lion was like, oh, really? And everybody, don't you remember, everyone was climbed up on things so that the...
Were you on set? Because I wasn't allowed to be on set with you.
Yeah, no, I was there.
Are you kidding? You're not allowed to be on set. They're send the witches, send the ants. They're fine. If one of them gets eaten by a lion, they're totally replaceable. Don't let her near the pet.
I was like, I want to be in there. They're like, no, go away.
Yeah, the lion just prowled around the set, and the script supervisor went the hell home. She was like, I'm going home. And it was so
You're explaining that you were eaten by a lion on your TGIF show.
Oh my god, speaking of TGIF, that was a lineup. That was my Friday night. I love TGIF. Did you all have any kind of TGIF show that you loved, or did you all get to hang out with the other TGIFers? How did that all go?
Only when I was guest starring on all the shows. There was I think it was 1 week when we were on, was it just me and Salem? You guys
it wasn't us.
Boy Meets World, and
There were
Remember the parties?
publicity events too, where
Yeah.
they just pulled us all.
I hosted a magic show with a lot of them, where I had to learn actual magic, and I was like, this is a character, right?
no, it's not.
No, not really, it turns out. But I old school magic I suck at, whatever.
I remember they would do throughout the evening in commercial breaks, they would, it would be a party that was actually staged, and we would be at those and with other cast members from other shows, and it'd be coming up on Sabrina.
So difficult. It was really hard because it was our show was so demanding, and we were working such long hours, and it was really tricky then to fit in these others. Can you come guest star on this show, and then will you do this thing, and will you do this promotional thing? It's oh my gosh, I never get to do it. It was exhausting.
And we barely had time to breathe.
You worked your ass off.
Yeah.
You worked
I had numerous puking stomach bugs, and the episode with Ed Begley Jr. literally, we were talking about, Nate and I were talking about this the other day. I had my head down on the table and I pick it up and say my line, put my head back down, the bucket's right there, like, whoa. And then
I've never that.
I was trying to remember my lines and I'm like, I felt so bad because when I ran into Ed Begley played my dad in a movie I did with Jason Priestley, Dear Christmas, and I was like, when I saw him, I was like, Ed, I am so sorry that 20 years ago, like I feel like I was so unprofessional that I didn't give you any eye contact, I didn't have, like I wasn't a professional, like I didn't give you anything to work off of. And he was like, what are you talking about? I had a great time. And I was like, for like 20 years I freaked out that he must hate me.
I picture him without having the bubble butt. Remember? Because you
Oh,
first
yeah.
met him, and he had the bubble butt, and I always look for it, like, no.
Forgot about that. And now I get to direct him on Young Sheldon and stuff, so I adore him. Adore him.
Yeah,
Luckily,
he's
he's not
lovely.
mad at me.
Yeah.
We had so many amazing guest stars. We were so lucky. We had like everybody you could think of wanted to be on our show because their kids loved it. So we had amazing people. It was really, really a thrill.
Beyonce, say her name, I never said her.
Beyonce.
Beyonce, she came up to me at the American Music Awards. First of all, she called me Miss Caroline. She did not call me ma'am, which is Southern for no longer hot. And she called me Miss Caroline, and she said, we love the show so much. And I said, well, we would love to have you on it. She said, really?
They weren't, right?
Yes, I know, but
Why
I
did you
still
say
had
that?
this moment.
Oh,
I'm
right,
trying
this
to get
was
out.
my
I didn't know she was going to become the most successful human on earth. Anyway.
We did have amazing guest stars.
Well, I was gonna ask about that too. So since we're there, like,
We just like kind of.
Oh, no,
First of all, I want to name your TGIF. What were the 4 shows?
oh my goodness, Sabrina, Women's World, Full
Family.
House and Family Matters.
Step by step was
Oh,
that was
Step.
Step 2.
I feel like Full House and Teenage were a little bit before us though. Teenage Crossover was one.
And then we were on at new episodes, remember 8 and 9.
What was it? Two of a
Two
Kind.
of a kind.
That was an early one, though, right?
Yeah.
Was that early? No?
I don't know.
Clueless for a bit, yes.
I mean, Family Matters ruled. That was the biggest. That was a
Boy
great
Meets World.
show.
Jaleel Urkel, who made a joke, I think, when we got on, he was like, that cat's never gonna boot me off this network, and then the show got canceled. But then Jaleel and I, we did a Christmas movie together too, so.
He is funny. He is
Very funny.
What a little comedic genius to do that character. Honestly.
But yeah,
That was all him.
We're the worst self-cleaners. Ask me a question.
Oh. So no, wait. Were you going back to TGIF? Were you working Fridays too? And like, were you able to watch the show? I heard that like you all had to really watch the show.
I watched the show when my daughter turned 7. We started watching episodes. We would watch an episode a night, and then I called Melissa, and I remember, and I go, you were so good on this show! You were perfect.
Yeah, we almost never watched it because we worked like 16-hour days. So
Especially Fridays.
Yeah,
Fridays
Fridays
was the
was
longest.
late.
2, 3 in the morning. They'd give us a VHS tape on Friday and be like, here's this week's episode, because you couldn't, in case it got leaked out or whatever. So they'd hand you a VHS episode, maybe at lunchtime on Friday, and you'd be like, great, throw it in your trailer, go back to work till 2 in the morning. And it's like, I'm not like gonna pop it in my VCR on Saturday. I really don't. I'm gonna listen to
I
it all
saw
week.
2 episodes.
I literally
I
just got rid of
saw
it.
the first one we ever did because Melissa had a party and made us all watch it. And then I saw the first one that she directed because Melissa had a party and made us all watch
I was at a bar, just to be fair, that party was at a bar, so it wasn't
it.
like.
So I only saw a few minutes of it.
Before you go.
Nate was telling me a little bit about the watch parties, but I mean, these guys are like such good friends. I mean, from what I see. And so, what was it like? I want to know too, like, like most of you, the teens you guys were like in your 20s-ish, right? So, like, what was it like hanging out on set in like your 20s?
We were all in our 20s.
Well, that's the thing. I was never a teenager playing a teenage witch. I was 20 when we started, but
You turned 20.
I turned 21.
21.
And my 21st birthday, talk about blind drunk.
What did you do?
I threw a big party. I love to be social and I love to have parties. So my house and my mom. My mom was the executive producer, for those who don't know. And we would have huge parties at our house.
I had that crazy pool from like the 60s.
It was like,
Yeah, and Melissa, we actually lived on the same street, just down the street from each other. So, but her apartment was the fancier apartment. So everybody would just kind of congregate. We would end up there.
kind of hang out. I just like to bring everyone together and sort of make sure that, you know, everyone's familiar and family, and we kind of created this family of like just hanging out. And if we did get done on a Friday night, we would go shoot pool, or we would go, I actually ended up owning a bar on Sunset Boulevard, so it was like, let's go to the bar, you know, what? Hang out.
Melissa, do you remember that our drink was Midori Sours? Midori, do you remember that? We drank this green drink.
You own a bar and a candy store? That is so opposite ends. I'm like,
I went
You're
from
interested in
being
the
single
children and the
to
parents.
being a mom, so you know, things changed.
wow.
I also heard that there were like trips amongst the cast. Did you guys go to Vegas?
We had a wrap party in Vegas. Like everybody got to go to Vegas for a wrap party. We all went to Disney World to open up Animal Kingdom for an episode. If you guys remember that episode, that was a fun one.
There was a little Mexico trip.
And then like, yeah, and then we did some movies abroad, but that was just me, wasn't it?
No Australia for the rest of us.
Yeah. Well, they were like offshoots of so it was like almost like a different cast. It was a whole different cast. We did Italy, we did Australia, and the original movie we shot in Vancouver before the series.
And who was in the original movie that went on to have a small career?
Yeah, thank you.
Who?
I'm not answering you guys.
Who was it? Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
I always thought he was the original Harvey, but he's not. He was.
No, he wasn't Harvey. He like tried to like molest me in a car. Or something.
Okay, don't say no. Not to the people magazine. No, correct that.
Scratch
Who
that.
remembers the movie probably better than I do? All right, over there. Wait, what did we do? Who was he?
See, that's how you answer the question, smart girl.
What was his character? Yes,
Jock.
that's right. He was the jock who was like on the track team, and I wanted him to take me to prom or whatever, and then like Harvey saves me. It wasn't Nate, but it was a
Who
different.
was the OG Harvey?
IMDb anyone?
But what I would say, like, is more than just friends. When you work 16 hours a day with people for year after year after year, we became family. I mean, I consider these people my family.
You see each other more than you
It's like
see
family. When,
Yes.
when you're done seeing them, you don't want to see them.
Thanks, Nate.
I do have a problem though. I can't call Nate Nate.
I didn't even know you knew my name.
I literally, he kept going like, Harvey! I go,
At your own house. I'm at her own house. And she still calls me Harvey.
And I mean, it's such a teen heartthrob, it's still a heartthrob. I mean, give it up for Nate. But, like, I mean, this movie years. Do you still get that a lot?
Dude, there was an episode where Sabrina turns into a boy. Do you remember that?
Oh, do I?
We're having difficulty
My brother.
adapting to how to do this, and so many men come up to me and said, the way you treated her in that situation helped me come out to my friends and my family.
Oh, that's so sweet.
More than one occasion I've heard this.
You know
yeah,
what?
I'm actually like
I know, you get it.
choked up about it.
I was just with, on Jinx Monsoon's podcast, she's amazing, and I've had a lot of young men come up to me and say, your character made me come out. And at first I go, thank you. And I was like, I said, why is that? And he said the nice thing, he said, because our characters were so authentic, even though we were playing witches and characters, that he felt safe enough to be authentic within this family. So I thought that was like, that's a big gift.
Now, meanwhile, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Jenna Lee Green was so mean on the show. And I've known
So I'm on this side of the couch.
I've known her for like 10 years, and she is the nicest human being ever. We love her.
To be a likable villain. She was brilliant as Libby. Like so funny and mean.
You gotta say it with a smile. Because if you say really mean things with a smile, somehow it like doesn't seem as mean, but it's actually meaner.
I mean, I'm obsessed. Tell us about being the mean girl.
I mean, listen, I've been asked this question a lot, but honestly, and correct me anyone if I'm wrong, but mean girls do they don't recognize what being a
There's
mean
not one mean girl in this audience. I don't know if you've met these
No,
people.
but I'm sure that there are a lot of people in this audience who watch
mean
the
girls
Mean
out there?
Girls. And that's, I feel like, someone who is truly kind of, they could not, I don't think that they could effectively play one because they don't recognize the traits. But every girl who went through high school, which we did not that long before the show, you remember the mean girls because they were mean to you. And that's just kind of what I did. I pictured, I still know her name, the mean girl in high school who was just mean to me for no reason at all. Honestly, she was probably jealous. It usually stems from an insecurity. When you're mean to other people is because you're insecure in yourself. But I just remembered her, and I was like, say it like her, but then I just put the smile on it. But I just think that you don't recognize you're mean if you're mean, so if you've watched it, it's an easier way to kind of...
But you've influenced generations because my own daughter, who's 14 and loves me, often uses the word "ooh" when I am in the room.
Oh, during your stand-up the other night, she said that. She's like, she just missed an opportunity with me being here. Because you did the whole, you did your...
I know, that is from you. Ooh.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like, you know, there's so many of those characters now, but Libby was kind of the OG.
Well, if we
Yes,
had you
yes.
and Lisa in Clueless doing her as if, and you with your, it would be like perfect.
I have to say, when Schitt's
your
Creek
ooh.
came on,
Do your ooh.
ew. But today we watched Schitt's Creek, but she was like, oh, David, that's me. And so I was literally scouring to see if somebody, and I feel like someone on the internet actually did come through and put together a meme of Libby. Not David, Alexis. Oh my gosh. I love that show. I was like, but they put it together, like me, ew, and ew, David.
I love that. So speaking of, high school, coming out of high school, being in your early 20s, I want to know, were there any on-set crushes or showmances happening behind the scenes of Sabrina?
Well, Nate was dating Lindsay.
Why are we jumping to me?
You did have the most crushes on everybody, but
You had some seriously hot hookups.
wait, like on camera?
Was
No. Caroline had to think for one of my ex-boyfriends.
oh my god, everyone, they were all more gorgeous than the last.
You like
It was
Johnny? It was
ridiculous.
Johnny Mosley. He was an
Oh.
Olympic skier. But
Oh, we really had
It's
to
funny,
dig that out of you.
it's in my book. It's fine.
Okay.
I think you thought he was hotter than I did.
He was so cute. Well, your boyfriend was on the show several times. Brian.
Kirkwood. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on not a TGIF show. He was on like a Disney Channel show or something.
No, you're
But then-
James.
Oh, James was in it. Yeah, that's not.
A long
Anyway,
list.
moving on. Nate.
Back to Nate.
Nate dated Lindsay, who Lindsay played Valerie. Oh my gosh. So like we all became friends with her because we were working our first season at Universal Studios, and Lindsay wasn't on the show first season.
She was on a show directly across the alley
Hey,
from
Phil.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yeah, you told the story, Nate.
That's pretty much it.
We all hung out
So we all hung out.
in the breezeway of the studio.
And Melissa's like, who's this guy? Who's this girl he's hanging out with? I gotta know. And so they started becoming friends, and Melissa was
And then
like,
she was in Sabrina Goes to
she
Sabrina
just finished
Down
that
Under.
show?
She's the mermaid in Sabrina Down Under.
Wow.
Not only, and she's also in the show.
Yeah. That's the end.
I have to tell you a witchy story just about
You guys dated
Universal.
for like 3 years. Yeah.
We did. When I in 1980 something, I don't know if I don't remember anything anymore, and my best friend and I went to Los Angeles, and we got a tour of Universal Studios, and the only stage that we toured, we ended up doing Sabrina.
I don't know.
Ooh, witchy.
So Captain I was actually in the Crucible. My Broadway debut was in the Crucible.
That's crazy.
I just put that together. Hold on.
And all of our cats talk, so that's scary.
Yeah, I was actually 16 when I did the Crucible. Yep, strangely.
I would go home and look at my cat and say, you don't do anything. There are cats at work that drive cars and speak. And we had a cat who had to drive a fire truck into the set, drive the
too. We have a cat. Fire's up. Trying to save us. You're just lying there with the cat. Useless.
These people are too much fun. I do want to get to some questions, but I also want to know really quick, like, who is who on set? So, like, who was the class clown of Sabrina?
Who do you think?
I will get to figure that out.
1, 2, 3.
I lost my pass to the set, like the Paramount pass, maybe episode 2. And I literally drove in the non-working pass for like 2 years, and I would drive into Paramount every day, and I would say, I'm on Sabrina, and they would go, are you a writer? No. Are you a gaffer? Like they went through I'm on the show. Why do you have the pass? I lost it. This one, it's just sort of who I am.
Yeah, I mean, we are actually completely and utterly typecast.
You know,
our character.
I wanted to be Zelda. When I first got the script, I was like, oh, I want to be Zelda. I want to be the scientist. And they were like, Apple. That's hilarious.
Actually, a funny story is that my original first couple of auditions for the show were for Jenny. So I was the nice girl first.
And then they saw it in you.
And then they were like, we have this other role.
But wait, didn't you do during your audition, like, the lipstick scene or something?
Yeah, the lipstick scene from the pilot episode was I don't know if that was the only audition scene. I can't remember. I feel like it was a couple scenes, but I know that the lipstick was definitely the audition scene.
The deciding factor of
The
why.
deciding factor: can she effectively pretend to write on her face with
Attack her own face.
Apparently, I did.
So, okay, so who was the most serious on set?
Who do you think?
I was wondering if you were the same thing.
Have you ever watched this, behind the scenes? I was like, Caroline, it's time to go. Melissa, it's time to go.
Stand up hard. Let's go.
And then she's like, I have to check if the alligator is fine. I'm like, go ahead. True. Every animal that said, there is a salamander that is not being treated well. I'm like, oh my god. That's shocking. Is it not true completely? Where's the salamander's Bill of Rights? Everyone.
Who had the most outings?
Outtakes?
Yeah, outtakes.
It's a tie between her and the cat. Quite a few, though, too.
You had quite a few. Yeah.
They do
I
a
like your.
blooper reel every
Yeah,
every year.
play it at a rap party.
You gotta let it on YouTube
I
someplace.
love that blooper reel.
I love it.
I have watched those. I
I
haven't
have
seen the
all
show itself, but I've watched the blooper.
I just found all mine from like Sabrina, Clarissa, Melissa, and Joey. I'm like, maybe these need to be seen.
Yes.
I
think
Does anyone have a VHS player we can borrow?
We need a VHS player on the screen right now. Awesome, cool. Well, let's open up to some questions.
Can I, before you start the questions, just because I know you're all things Broadway obsessed, have you ever heard Jenna sing? She has the voice of an angel.
Oh, yes. Jenna and I sing together in concerts and stuff. That's how I know her. And
What are we saying together? Why don't you do a number?
He produced a concert that I
yeah, that Jenna.
sang, and I think that's maybe how we met the first time. But then that's
What did you guys sing?
What?
What did you sing?
Well, it was like a whole concert, and we had like all our Broadway
A whole
friends
bunch
to
of
it, and Jenna sang "You Oughta Know," and she like rocked it out. But she was, yeah, I mean,
well, because the concert itself had a theme.
What does you are know from, besides how I feel about dating apps?
You ought to know. Oh, that's
Oh, you ought to know. I thought it was you are know.
oh my God, speaking
You
of,
are a know.
Jenna was in Wicked. What thoughts on the Wicked movie? Are we excited?
I'm cautiously optimistic. It's just an interesting cast to me. I was not what I pictured, and also except Fiero. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I have to tell you something about that. Cynthia Erivo was at the SAG Awards, and she's so beautiful, and she's just walking along, and like everyone's trying to get at her, and then she's having to go a certain direction, and she turns around, she goes like this, Aunt Hilda! She's obsessed with Sabrina, Cynthia Erivo. And she's in Wicked. I'm not insane. There was a connection. I
getting so on topic over here. I love it.
Cynthia Erivo is in Wicked. She's playing Elphaba.
Yeah.
Opposite.
No, I think it's going to be, a dear friend of mine is actually kind of musical directing the film, so he's in London now with his family, and he has really good things to say. I think it's going to be epic.
That's going to be epic.
Cool. All right, we only have a few more minutes, so I want to get to you guys and hear what you all want to hear.
Hi, my name is Ina. I'm from Philly, and I have a question for Melissa. Is it okay to ask a question about her? Yeah. My question is, from the cast, who do you still keep in touch with, and what are they up to? Like Ferguson, Sam, the parents?
Don't actually. It's sad. Like actually, my one of my very best friends is here somewhere who worked on Clarissa. Where is she? Where's Michelle? Is she here? Yeah. Where are you? Stand up, Michelle. And I actually saw her work on Clarissa. She's my son's godmother and my oldest son's godmother. And then she did wardrobe on Clarissa, and then wardrobe on Sabrina is my second son's godmother. So, if you work in the wardrobe department, Kimmy's my second, Brady's godmother. So, but Michelle worked, she's like, her and her husband worked on the show as well. And they're like, my very dearest friends are like siblings to me. They're like my big brother and sister. And they're who I keep in touch with from Clarissa days. But the cast, it's weird because those days, no cell phones. Like, no, you know, if you had a home address, maybe you sent a Christmas card. Like, even some of our Sabrina crew, everyone had AOL addresses at the time. Everyone's changed those. You know, you had a home number, you had a cell phone. I'm sure you do.
I do, but I'm not sorry.
And I also got a Christmas card in February from Melissa. I just want to know.
Well, that's the mail. I send them on December 1st, so that's the mail. Talk to your minute. But Clarissa, I don't. But actually, because of my podcast now, you guys don't know what woman binge. I expect this to start. But I was actually thinking about my producer on my podcast comes from the Nickelodeon world, and he was like, he actually just got me all the email addresses for all of them. So I'm thinking about, but I don't know how to what to say. Like, it's been 35 years. How are you? So I'm gonna try to pull them together for a podcast episode.
Hi, my name is Melissa from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I just love the show so much. It was so important to me when I was growing up, so thank you for being present and being part of the show. My question is, because I'm here for all things witchy this weekend, do you practice any magical or witchy things in your personal life?
Only with facial productions. I try to make things look younger. I don't really, but this one does.
Well, it's not like I have, a pot and I throw food in it. So, no. I believe in all sorts of magical things. I think we're all kind of witches, to tell you the truth. I think if you believe in the power of what you're capable of doing, I don't think it's necessarily pointing.
I'm capable of a lot of magic in the kitchen.
Yes, she is. A lot.
I've had people say to me, "Oh my God, your hands are magic," because I can make some beautiful food.
She's an unbelievable chef. It is true. I don't practice that kind of magic. I don't have any of that.
No, she doesn't.
I know. Do you practice magic? Yeah. I mean, I might have put a spell on one ex, but that was it.
I'm like 280 pounds, and I, who weighed like 116 at the time, I hung him on a meat hook in a meat hook. And I'm like, how was I supposed to get this big old boy up on that meat hook? I'm like, when is that even possible? They were like, people will believe it. I was like, alrighty then.
Hi, my name is James Hutchison, and I'm from Bonesdale, Pennsylvania, which is near Scranton. And thanks for coming. And my question is, what was the audition process like for each of you? Like, what was your first reaction when you saw the script, and how did you first get involved with the show?
When they sent it to me to read for the role of Hilda, I called my agents and said, I'm going to get this and I'm going to be Zelda. And they were like, shut up and just go do what they tell you. And, but I knew. And then I saw this one in the waiting room and I was like, well, there she is. So I said, I'm in the right room. Yeah. I was really like, that's her.
I'm going to give you the 30-second version, okay? It was so long ago. I got a call from Nell Scavell, who was one of the creators, and she said, "Are you sure you won't reconsider?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." She said, "Well, your managers passed on this script like 8 weeks ago, but you know, we're casting this week." And I'm like, "Well, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what the show is or anything." So they faxed it to me, and it was so long ago that it was scrolled like ye old script. And then Hilda says, and I had just had a horrible relationship with a very bad smelling man. I'm just telling you, it's what I remember. Oh, it's horrible. Anyway, we had an awful flashback in front of all of you. So anyway, we had broken up. He actually broke up with me, which was ironic because where is he now? Anyway, I'm pretty sure he's not on the panel. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So he and I broke up. I put it that way now. Anyway, they said to me, I go, "Well, tell me about the character." And she said, "She can trap a man in her ring for not loving her." And I literally said, "I will do it."
I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I had actually, the funny story is that I had been auditioning for Clueless when they were making that into a TV series. And so I had tested for the role of Ty, which ended up not really being a character on the show. But she was in the movie, and I didn't get it, and I was real sad about it. But Sabrina had the same casting director, Ellie Canner. And so a couple weeks later, they called me and said, "Hey, Ellie has this other show, and she thinks you're right for it." So that, I think, is why I originally came in for Jenny. But I think that I had like 8 auditions. That doesn't happen anymore. Now you put yourself on tape and maybe you hear something, maybe they never watched it. But
My name is.
so I mean, I just kept going back, and every week I'd go, and there would be a couple new girls with me, but one of the same, and I just kept going and kept going and kept going, and I knew nothing. And then I think on my way home from the test, I got a page to call my agent, and I pulled over and pulled out the cell phone that was under my seat. And I called and said hi, and they said, "Hey, you got it." Freaking out.
I love that you had to do it like this because that's what the phones were like.
I never had that. I didn't turn that phone on unless I absolutely needed to use it.
We have time for one
I
more.
don't know how Harvey got the part.
The only thing I remember
Harvey.
is. See what I mean? She had no idea what my name was.
It's Richard. It's not Reichert. How do you say
That's
his last
correct,
name?
yeah, Richard,
Richard. Okay.
which is still probably wrong.
Tell your story.
The only thing I remember is, again, 5, 6, 8 auditions in, however many it was. I had to read with you for it, and they had all the suits in there, the executives. It was sort of
It's
Like
the
a stage
like
stage.
an amphitheater
It's like
situation.
to do.
The seats went up like this.
Yes,
I'm standing
yes.
in front of them, and
It's intimidating.
they made Melissa sit with her back to everybody else to read with me, and I thought that was very strange. Like we had to hug or kiss or do something, but you weren't standing there.
The part he's leaving out is that there was no one else. It was just him. The rest of we go and we're at these auditions, these test things, and we see our competition. There was no other boys. He was the only one they wanted. Yes, that's true.
That probably now, right? I just
No,
got
I think-
a pilot. And the other thing I remember is like reading the script going, this ain't gonna go.
I don't think they even gave me the whole script to read. I think I just had my audition scenes.
I went to a psychic who told me that the show that I was starting in September would be on the air for 7 years. No, it wasn't.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but because of we got the rights. My mother got the rights to the comic book in my sister's like the parking lot of her elementary school. Someone was like, "Hey, this would be a great project for Melissa since she's done with Clarissa." And my mom, we had a relationship with Viacom because Clarissa was on Nickelodeon. It was Viacom. Long story. Anyway, she goes to Viacom, says we should make this a movie for Showtime. We made the movie for Showtime, and my mom said we should make this as a series. They're like, nah. So she takes the editing. My mom edited the movie into clip in sort of a sizzle reel, and took it out to LA. Took it to 5 different networks. In the room, got 3 different offers. But ABC gave us the time slot of TGIF, and she said, "I want to be on TGIF. I think our show needs to be on TGIF." And so that's how I got the part. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
That's history. Well, we're out of time. So thank you all. But that was really awesome.
there. He's going to get a photo of you all. Where is he at? Wait. Here we go. There he is. He's right there. I see him. He's getting settled. There we go. All right. You got it?